Okay, now what we're looking at here is a terribly ugly graphic that I made probably a decade ago, maybe even longer. But I still like it. I still like it because what I want you to think about here is I often describe it as a chair or a stool that you need a minimum of three legs to stand. And so if you have a source, it has to have three strong legs. Now sometimes a source can be stand on less than three, but it has to have a very good reason for doing so. And the three things that you look out for is you look out for the author, okay? This is the ethos. There's no pathos in these credibility tests. You look for the argument, that's the logos. And the publication is part of the ethos. You know, how, in what way does it, and logos too, in some respect, is how is trustworthy is the publication? So by the author, we have to think in terms of the author's credibility. Can you figure out if the author is writing on a subject that she is an expert on? Is she the primary researcher, or is she reporting someone else's research? Is she secondary? Are there multiple authors involved? And I like this idea of multiple authors because it gives us something that we see with good publications is we have peer review. A publication is strong if it has peer review. In other words, they won't publish it unless other experts look at it and agree. So when there's multiple authors, very often you'll see with academic papers, we'll see more than one author. And again, that serves as a check for the other to check the facts, not just the grammar, but check the facts, check the logic, check the conclusions. Okay? So in terms of argument, again, you have to decide whether the premises are there, that the warrant makes sense, that it's well reasoned. Does it have documentation? Does it have support? Are those sources credible in themselves? Can you verify them? This is the funny thing about papers written by GPT, sorry, when when ChatGPT is told to document, to have citation in its papers, that it can sometimes generate its own. So is the argument strong? Is the author credible? Is the author writing about something she or he is expert in? And then does the publication do any of that? Does the publication itself have any bias? So there are lots of things to look at. I will give you a copy of this PDF in this module page. But I want to look at how we might find sources that we think are credible. Now, if you go to Saddleback's website and you're looking for a source, and now I've been looking at CEO compensation, and imagine I want to go to the library. Now, there isn't a library link on the top of the Saddleback homepage, so I'm going to scooch us to the bottom really quick because the library link is now at the bottom. It should be at the top. But anyway, if I click on that, I have I can look through the library's books, articles, and more. One-stop search right here, kind of like Google. Or I can look through the databases, and I want you to try the databases. In fact, what I'd like you to try is go to ProQuest. So what's astounding is we have 130. Our library subscribes to 139 different databases. So you can see if you're an accountant major and you just want an accountant database, you can look there. If you're in agriculture, there, you can pick the subject here. But ProQuest is a popular site that gives you kind of everything from real academic sources to very non-academic sources. So I really like that. And so you have to log in if you are going on ProQuest. If you're off campus. And then you put in your search terms. So if I was looking at CEO compensation and did a search, I get, you can see I got 4 million results very quickly. And what's nice about ProQuest is it tells us the type of sources here. So again, newspapers we might not think of as necessarily credible enough. I suppose it depends on the newspaper in particular. But if I clicked on more just to show you that there even are blogs and podcasts and websites. And wire feeds, by the way, are newspapers, but they don't necessarily have their own newspaper. Like the Associated Press, for example, would be a wire feed. Scholarly journals, obviously, is going to be a lot better, more credible. Dissertations and theses are academic books that people create when they're getting their master's degree or their doctorate. So those would be considered more scholarly. Now, we can also just limit our search to scholarly journals. And so if I clicked here, you can see that I have only scholarly journals listed. What's nice, I can get a full text PDF. That would give me page numbers. That would be great. It's got a citation guide here if it's the type of article I want to look at. This will cite it for me. You obviously need to check, make sure that all the letters are capitalized. Ooh, look at this here. Is there still a gender effect on CEO compensation? So let's say I wanted to look at that article. Again, if we look here, there are 2 authors. It's a Journal of Management Development, so it's clearly an academic. It's not a magazine; it's an academic journal. We can get the full text here. Obviously, we won't have page numbers if we read through it and find something we want to quote. But if you did want to have actual page numbers, you can click on Full Text PDF, and it should give me basically a picture of what the journal looks like. Okay, so there it is. That's page 336, 337. So we can look at it that way. Again, if you're going to cite it, you could click here, and that's done correctly. Now, it's just 2 authors, so it lists the first one, last name first. I don't know how to pronounce that. Leschinska, something like that, Dorata, and Jean-Louise Chandon. So we don't need to do with the second author, we don't need to do it last name first, just because we're using the last name first on the first author to alphabetize. Okay, so this looks like a perfectly fine 8th or 9th edition. And it's already, you can see the hang indented with the last name. The last name out to the left, so it's very easy to see. Okay, so that's what you would do. Again, you'd have to read it to decide whether the logic is good, but the other features, the publication, and the actual authors themselves seem to be experts. We could, again, look them up ourselves and find out more. I could look at more articles that this person has done. You could do that looking if you wanted to. Now, another choice that you have is to do Google Scholar. Oops. I don't know how to. Google Scholar. Let me just click there. It'll be scholar.google.com. And if I look in here, and you see, by the way, that I got case law I could put in as well. But CEO compensation, I'm going to find lots of articles right here. And what they're doing the same sort of thing. They're showing me how to cite it. They're showing me that 1,001 other articles have cited this article. Now, this article is actually interesting. I've actually already looked at it. Just because it's in a pre-publication state. So, that might be one of the people publishing it, you might say, is not adequate to make it trustworthy, even if the authors seem very credible. They also have a website, which I'll click on and see if it'll work. And this gives me the manuscript of the article, not an actual PDF of the article published because it's in pre-publication form right now. Let me look at the date of it again. By the way, abstract, I think I've said before, but an abstract is a summary of an article. So you often just read the abstract to see if it's something that you want to work on. 2010, apparently they never published it. Okay. So anyway, let me go back to Google Scholar, and again, I can apply my 3 legs to decide whether I think an article is worth publishing. Okay. So Google Scholar is helping you on the way. ProQuest is helping you on the way. So again, CEO compensation. If I was looking again, I can just again limit the types of things that I want, the types of sources I want to find by coming here and just choosing scholarly journals. So it's kind of done it for me. All right. Okay. I'm trying to find my, oh, there it is. Okay. Talk to you later.